Hello everyone, and welcome to this video demonstration on users and permissions. Let's get started by logging into the web UI. Under the administration panel is where we'll create a user. Click on Access, Users, and then Create. We'll type in the username, email address, and first and last name. If you have set up FireMon to integrate with your existing authentication servers, you'll see an option to choose that server from the drop-down. For this demonstration, I'm just going to use local authentication for this user. I'll give the user a password, and then we'll click on Assignment. From here, you can add that user to one group or multiple groups. I'm going to add him to the SecOps group and the admin group by selecting the groups and clicking Add. If you change your mind, you can remove the group by selecting it from the selected user groups list and click on Remove. We'll hit Save, and now we'll go into the user groups page to set the permissions. Let's click on Access and then User Groups. It's important to note here that since every user is assigned to the All Users group, FireMon recommends not setting any permissions for this group. By default, no permissions are set for the All Users group, and in cases where the permissions between groups conflict, the users will be given the most permissive access. Now on to our SecOps group. Within the user group, you can edit the properties of the group. You can rename it, assign users directly within the group, and edit the permissions for the group. We'll click on Assignment, and you'll see a list of users that you can add to the SecOps group and a list of users that are already in the group. Since I'm in here, I'm going to add another user over to this group as well. Now let's look at the permissions. Within the permissions, you can either select Read or Write, and if you select Write, Read will automatically check. System is used to grant permissions for plugins. In an MSSP environment, it will also include a domain setting. This is not visible unless you are licensed as an MSSP. Administration is used to grant permissions to perform a variety of administrative tasks. FireMon Objects is used to grant permissions related to service and service groups, zones, and network segments. If you see an orange triangle with an exclamation point next to any permission, that means that it was auto-checked based off of selections made elsewhere. To see where, just hover over the triangle. Modules is used to grant permissions to access the individual SIP modules within the web UI. Device group is used to grant permissions to view, modify, or utilize RISC for device groups in domains. For this user group, let's just give write permission to Dallas and nothing for Chicago. Workflows is role-based permissions that enable users in the group to perform actions on Policy Planner and Policy Optimizer tickets that apply to selected devices. The workflow actions that can be performed are determined by the workflow permission. The devices that the user will have access to view in Policy Planner and Policy Optimizer are determined by the device group for which the user has workflow permissions. Here, I'm just giving them access to certain stages within both workflows. And lastly, if you have configured FireMon to use third-party authentication server, you will see that server here and can configure any server group mappings that are needed. After you finish your modifications, you can go ahead and click on Save. And that's it. We've created a user, added them to a user group, and have configured the group's permissions. For more information on this topic and others, please refer to the administration guide located on usercenter.firemon.com.